It was Christmas Eve, 1945, a small West Virginia home, one of those warm, busy houses overflowing with kids and life. It was tucked into a quiet, dark kind of place in Fayetteville. Inside, 9 Sodder children were either sleeping or winding down for the night. By morning, 5 of them would be gone. And I don't mean gone in a fire. I don't mean lost in the rubble. I mean gone as in never found. Not their bodies, not their bones, not their clothes, not anything. The fire department showed up 7 hours later. Officials quickly ruled it an accident. But the Sodder family and almost everyone who digs into this case believes something far stranger happened. Because, as investigators soon discovered, this wasn't just a fire. This was a vanishing. And the deeper you go, the more impossible the official explanation becomes, because this is the true unsettling and unsolved story of the Sodder Children. And this is the Yore Town Podcast. The voice you're hearing, it's me, it's Matt, it's Beard Laws. Joining me as always, the beautiful, slightly sad dun-dun queen, Meg.
Haha, funny.
Thank you. I'm full of jokes. In an episode that's not full of jokes. And again, this is our take on some serious, true crime episodes. There's so many true crime podcasts.
For the record, I'm not really sad. Let's just throw that out there.
She's not super sad.
There was no context to it.
There should probably be context. I guess there's context for me because in studio, I'm wearing, as you can see on the video podcast, a Steelers jersey. On the audio-only podcast, it is a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey at the time of the recording. The Steelers played the Ravens. The Ravens lost. Meg's a Ravens fan. I'm a Steelers fan. It was a house divided. One of us is smiling a little more than the other. That is the context.
That's better.
All right, that's mo better. And obviously, these are serious cases, and we put our take on it. And life's too short to be serious all the time. But viewer and listener discretion is advised because this is a true crime case with some information that is kind of gross at some point, but we do our best to kind of keep it a little lighter, right? So I know it's not Christmas Eve, obviously, but it's Christmas season, and this one, almost is, what is that? What's 45 to 2025? 80 years? Is that good math or is that bad math? It's math, and, it's at the time of the recording the weekend. We don't overly have to do math, but this was a case in 1945. Yeah, 80 years. Look at that. I still got it. Quick. I wonder why the kid advanced in math. But either way, almost to the 80-year anniversary of a terrible, terrible tragedy. Is this something that you've ever heard of, Meg?
No.
The Sodder. This is wild. This is unbelievable. What do you think? Get right into it?
Let's do it.
Without further ado?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. And I think before we get to the big event that happens in this story, we have to kind of know the people or the players in the game playing to this football-themed Sunday. We got George and Jennie Sodder. They're Italian immigrants who built a life in Fayetteville, West Virginia. It was a bustling town of coal miners, laborers, blue-collar families, families that were scraping together after, the post-war American dream, right? George, who owned a trucking company, and what he did is he hauled coal and freight, and by 1945, the Sodders, they were pretty well known, Meg. They were very well respected, and pretty much the big family in town. So picture that, West Virginia, small town, big family. People know it.
Okay.
10 kids.
Okay.
Busy, chaotic home, right? Neighbors, they genuinely liked them. But George had opinions, specifically Mussolini opinions. During World War II, many Italian Americans didn't exactly appreciate criticism of Italy's former dictator. Some even supported, this person from afar. George, meanwhile, he openly said that he was a tyrant, he was a fraud, he was a monster. And he said it pretty loudly, Meg. That always goes over well, right? Fumble Ruski. People told him to shut up, Meg. Guess what? He didn't. And that tension lingered under the surface. Now, here's a little bit of a lesser known fact that in the research that I did, a lot of podcasts kind of skip over. George, he received threats about his political views as early as 1943. A visiting stranger openly argued with him about Mussolini months before this main event. Do you know what this main event is?
No.
Okay, I'm saying main event. It's not a boxing match. It's not a WWE. It's not a UFC fight. It's the biggest event in this story that circles around everything. So before this.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
one man actually told him, your home will be destroyed and your children harmed. And this quote actually appears in several archived accounts, but rarely gets highlighted. The fuse for this mystery was already smoking long before Christmas. All right.
Okay.
The scene built. All right, let's jump. December 24th, Christmas Eve, 1945. What do you think what do you think the song, the biggest, best song in 1945 at this time was? Have any guesses? No? Let's ask our friends over at Google Gemini, man. What was the biggest number one song right in December of 1945? The number one song in 1945 was, well, one of the biggest ones. It's Been a Long Time by Harry James and his orchestra with vocals by Kitty Callan and also by Bing Crosby and Les Paul Trio. Bing Crosby was on every track in 45. And Chicory Chick by Swing and Sway with Sammy Kaye, featuring vocalist Nancy Norman and Billy Williams. Educational podcast. So the Sodder family, they're home. This house is full of energy. All right. 10 people, 10 kids, 12 people in a house Christmas Eve. Presents, Meg, they're under the tree. The kids are staying up late. It's loud. It's warm. It's happy. 9 of the 10 children are home, which is interesting, right? One kid not home Christmas Eve. Sylvia the baby. Marion, a younger worker at local dime store. John, George Jr., Joseph, Maurice, Martha, Louis, and Jennie, the oldest brother. There it is. The oldest brother was away serving in the military.
Oh.
Makes sense, 1945. 5 kids, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jennie, and Betty, asked if they could stay up past midnight to play with their new toys. Jennie said, fine. But remember to turn off the lights and lock the doors before bed. This moment matters because what happens next? At around 12:30 a.m., Jennie wakes up. She hears the phone ringing. And this is a little bit of a lesser known fact that I had to dig super deep for, and actually it was like deep in an archive of interviews from the 1960s. The woman on the phone sounded like drunk or even nervous. She was asking for someone, and Jennie didn't know. Laughter, glasses clinking were heard in the background. Wrong number. Weird vibe. When Jennie goes back upstairs, she sees the light still on. The curtains open, and the front door was unlocked. The kids were nowhere in sight, but she assumes they just went up to the attic bedroom. So she shuts everything off, just goes back to bed. 20 minutes later, she hears something like a heavy object hitting the roof, then rolling off. She doesn't know it yet, but that detail will come back in a big way. 1:30 a.m. Jennie wakes up again, but this time, smoke's filling the room. The house is on fire. She screams frantically for George, and they rush together, the children that they can reach. 4 of them make it out. But the 5 older kids who slept upstairs in the attic, they don't come down. George tries to climb up there, but flames are already ripping through the staircase. So he sprints outside, runs for the ladder, except the ladder's gone, Meg. It's not misplaced. It's not fallen. It's not burned. It's gone. Hours later, they find it 75 feet down an embankment, dragged away from the house.
Fishy.
You think? So next, George tries to actually drive his truck up to the window so he could try to climb inside, but both trucks, perfectly fine earlier in the day, Meg, guess what? They won't start. Not one truck, both trucks. And this is a guy that does trucking for a living. He owns a truck company, a very successful truck company. They both don't work. Fire department, right? They don't show up till 8 in the morning. This happens at 1:30. Hours later.
It took so long.
That's what everybody's left saying, right? You know what they said? You know what the fire chief said, Meg? The Fayetteville fire chief claimed he didn't know how to drive the fire truck, so they had to wait until someone else woke up. So you got a missing ladder, 2 trucks that don't start. Remember that loud bang on the roof, kids in the attic, and a fire chief that all of a sudden doesn't know how to drive a fire truck.
Doesn't add up.
No, not nearly as good as my math at the beginning of this episode. That explanation, has been called everything from doesn't add up to ridiculous to criminal. By sunrise, the house, it's nothing but ash. But you know what's weird? None of the children are found, Meg. There's no bones. There's no teeth. There's not fragments. There's nothing of those kids that were in the attic. All right, I just gotta pause for a minute. I gotta hear what you're thinking. Because, you're thinking some stuff. It's going through your brain right now. There's a lot going on, so let's just take a pause. What are you thinking?
I think they were kidnapped.
Do you think it's all because of the political stuff? Or do you think there's more to it?
I think that's a part of it.
So they're kidnapped because of this political outcry of the Italian dictator while he's in West Virginia?
What do you think?
Well,
you already know. I can't ask you.
It's hard for me to think when I've done some research. But, 1945, things are a little different. Just like that movie preview that we were watching earlier. Times were different back in the day. Mm-hmm. Being outspoken about politics, religion, anything like that could end up much differently than it does now, right? All right. Anything else to that, or should we jump to the investigation?
Let's get back into it.
All right. So they did the investigation, or what some people are claiming is an investigation. Guess what the official cause of the fire was? Guess.
Whatever hit the roof?
Faulty wiring. Except, not even the Christmas lights were on as the fire burned.
Not buying it.
Remember that thud that you were just talking about?
Yep.
That was on the roof that Jennie heard?
Mm-hmm.
A retired bus driver later said that he actually saw a man throwing what he described as fireballs at the house that night. Even crazier, Meg, Sylvia, who was just 2, later found a strange rubber object in the yard. It was a small, hollow tube with a cap. It almost looked like a napalm-based device that they would have used in World War II. This detail didn't hit newspaper for decades. It was only revealed when the remaining Sodder children became adults and began publicly showing the artifact to journalists. They had it. They kept it. They showed it off. Faulty wiring, though, Meg.
It's a lie.
And investigators, they never even tested it.
I feel like the fire chief's involved.
There's some gut feelings by Meg. All right. I wonder if it's a thing. Does the fire chief actually have to be able to know how to drive a fire truck? You would assume that would be a thing.
I would assume, but I don't know that for sure.
But I don't know that for sure either. All right. Now, let's talk about the bodies, right? We did mention them a little bit earlier. They didn't find the bodies. They didn't find fragments. They found nothing. Experts, they say a house fire cannot completely cremate bone. Would you probably agree with that? Even crematoriums using temperatures twice as hot as a home fire always leave fragments. So the claim that 5 bodies actually burned completely, well, Meg, guess what? It's scientifically impossible. Yep, said fire chief investigating it, insisted that nothing, absolutely nothing, survived the flames. Despite the fact, guess what, Meg? Appliances, they were identifiable. They could tell what they were. There was a record player, Meg, still intact. There's a few metal tools that survived, not the ladder that was, well, I guess the ladder did. That was 75 feet in an embankment away. In the basement, it had minimal burn damage, but no children. Unbelievable. What else are you thinking? Right? You're puzzled. You're speechless. That doesn't happen often.
I feel like he set a fire in the attic first.
Who?
This guy that was on the roof.
Chucking fireballs like he was, what was the Mortal Kombat?
But I feel like he had the ladder and he lured them out by saying, he was saving them from the fire.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
And then he took them. That's my gut.
That's your
That's
gut?
where I'm going.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about the sightings, Meg, because this is where the case goes from tragic to bizarre.
Okay.
How bizarre. Eyewitness number 1. Passing motorist. A woman was driving through town that she actually saw the 5 Sodder children peering out of a moving car Christmas morning. Then you had the tourist court woman. A hotel worker in Charleston, West Virginia, claimed that she saw the children a week later. She remembered them. You know why? Because they were with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 adults. And the kids, they looked terrified. And then there was a woman in St. Louis. A woman contacted police claiming one of the girls was being held in a boarding house. And then there was actually a school in Texas. Again, where you started in West Virginia, Texas is a little bit of ways. There was a man that said he saw a boy who looked exactly like Louis Sodder at his school in Texas. He tried to speak to the boy, but guess what happened when he spoke to the boy? Adults quickly intervened. So you have children spotted. Again, this is in the 50s. Technology is not as good, you know what I mean? And in the 1950s, Sodder family received a photo of an adult man with a note that read the following, Meg. Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie. Du Bois, A0132 or 35. Most podcasts talk about the picture, but almost none mention what came next. Do you have any ideas what potentially came next? Sodders, you know what they do? They hire a private investigator to track down the return address on that said envelope. So the PI went to Kentucky. Guess what happened to that private investigator? He vanished. He never returned. He was never able or never did contact the family again. Nobody, not a single person knows what actually happened.
Huh.
It gets, I mean, this is unbelievable, isn't it? It doesn't make sense. So, I mean, by 1953.
Sticking by my story.
Sticking by it, which is some fireball man comes up, saves the kids. But what do you think, like, the motive? Why do you think?
I think it's political.
Political.
And I think that they took them and said that the rest of the family didn't make it out and they were taking them to safety. That's where I'm going.
And kids are, especially in pure chaos, more, let's be honest, most kids are programmed, trained, what's the right word I'm looking for? Educated to trust adults. Like they naturally think adults aren't going to lie to me. So you instinctively trust adults, especially in the 40s. All right.
One for the throwing, one for the ladder, one for the driving.
And then just
an extra. I don't know what the 4th one is.
Yeah. I mean, in reports and, so witnesses, they said 4 adults. They mistook. Maybe they miscounted. That stuff. All right. 1953. Sodder had enough. He spent his savings creating massive billboards on Route 16, complete with photos of the 5 missing kids. Stayed up for almost 40 years. Thousands of people saw it. Dozens of tips were sent in, although none were confirmed.
Did they fingerprint the ladder or anything like that?
I doubt it.
They should have.
They should have. But yes, they should have, but it's the middle of winter. I'm assuming that people be wearing gloves. If you're going to throw fireballs, you're probably wearing something, right? Mm-hmm. You're probably not throwing fireballs barehanded. I don't know. I've never done it. And I guess our winters are probably much different than West Virginia winters. Good question. And unfortunately, George, the stress, everything, he passes away in 1969. Jennie, she passes away in 1989. Both believed at the time of their passings that these kids were still alive. What do you think?
I think they could be. They could have been.
I think so too. Meg, I did a deep dive, all right? And I found some details that were confirmed in archives that I haven't seen a lot that were mentioned elsewhere. Chief, the fire chief, last name Maurice, Chief Maurice, allegedly told a local minister that he did find that he did find bone fragments, but he hid them in a box. So he finds bone fragments. And
Even weirder.
Even more weird. But you know why he claimed that he did this? To protect the family. Would you protect the family? I think that's him covering his tracks, right? The story then surfaced years later, and the fragments, when eventually found, were determined, Meg, to be animal bones. Or were they? The Sodders doubted the chain of custody. And then, decades later, there was a Fayetteville man bragged in a bar that he actually helped kidnap the Sodder kids. He was dismissed as a drunk, but 2 of his details actually matched things that were never released to the public. And then...
Wait, what was the phone call? I forgot about that.
So there was a phone call that happened right around midnight, and the wife answered it, and it was just kind of like pure chaos. Glasses clinking, sounded like a party. Just assumed, and they were asking for somebody that she had never heard of. Just was kind of chalked up as a
wrong
number. Press the wrong bit. For anybody that doesn't know, before cell phones and everything, you had to pick up a phone. At 40s, I'm assuming rotary phones still.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be easy to probably mix up a number. All right. Then there was, Meg, a man who warned George that his house would burn. Remember that? Because of his comments?
Mm.
He actually turned out to be connected to the local mafia extortion schemes that were going on in the 90s. It doesn't prove mob involvement, but it sure doesn't hurt that theory now, does it? And then the missing ladder and the trucks. You did mention that, right? Investigators, they never explained who moved the ladder, how both trucks mysteriously failed, and why the basement had so little damage. And those details were never dismissed. And those details, they were never resolved. Remember that loud thud that she heard, Meg? A local boy later said he saw a bright flash above the Sodder house right around the same time. The line, well, this whole story lines up with the device that Sylvia later found. I mean, now you got multiple witnesses there, right?
Mm.
Let's talk about a couple of theories and see if there's any of these that make sense to you, Meg, all right? Theory number 1. It was an accidental fire. It was ruled highly unlikely by modern fire experts, but could have happened, right?
I'm saying no.
You're sticking with no. How about theory number 2? Kidnapped by organized crime. There was motives, there was extortion, there was political retaliation, dispute with George's trucking businesses.
Yes.
This theory explains how there was no remains, how there was sightings, there was tampered trucks, moved ladders, slow fire response. That one seems pretty likely. Sorry to bring up likely. I know he dropped that touchdown in the end zone and the Steelers ended up winning. So, but this could be likely the cause, right? And then theory number 3 that was thrown out there in the 1945, it could have potentially been child trafficking, or there was even rehoming rings that were happening there. I mean, you had several eyewitnesses that do support this as well. And then again, you got Mussolini's loyalist retaliation. This is the family's original belief, and the threats that they received apparently were real. And then, what about a cover-up by local authorities? Not that they kidnapped the kids, but that the botched investigation and, potentially buried evidence out of embarrassment. Which one are you going with? You're still leaning on 2, right?
I am.
I don't know. You got any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
What are you leaning towards?
I mean, I got it. My gut says it's number 2. It's got to be. I mean, they were kidnapped by organized crime. The mob stuff, the threats, the clean, you know what I mean? This wasn't an amateur. This wasn't a drunk guy at a bar. But maybe drunk guy at the bar was hired by said mob people, and they were just like, listen, you're going to be a part of this. If you mess this up, we'll just get rid of you. We'll bury you with the fishes. I know it seemed like an Italian threat. No?
Yeah, no.
All right. You got anything else before we hit on the outro?
No.
No? All right. Well, the Sodder family never stopped looking. They threw up the billboards. I mean, he spent everything that he earned to try to get some closure before he passed away. I mean, they searched for decades. They followed every lead. They chased every rumor. And the strangest part, and all these years, Meg, 80 years almost, not a single confirmed trace of the 5 children were ever found. No remains, no DNA, no bodies, nothing. I mean, it's almost as if 5 children simply vanished. That's one thing that's a little bit wild to me, too. I mean, if they were seen at a school, they were seen at a hotel, they were seen everywhere. Did they get seen and then just, you know what I mean?
Locate or something.
I don't know any way of saying that without sounding very, very morbid, but like, are they all over the country? You know what I mean? As a harder way to, track anything. It's possible. They were that well connected. Man, this one, it hits different. I mean, it wasn't a ghost story. It's not a campfire legend. It's not a little bit of a town rumor. It was a real family on a real Christmas Eve. They went to bed laughing. I mean, they woke up broken. And the question I'd have to imagine that has haunted West Virginia for over 80 years is the same question that we're going to leave you with. Those children died in the fire. Where are they? But thank you, everybody, from the bottom of my beard for listening to the Yore Town Podcast. I'm Matt. That's the beautiful Meg. We'll do this again next week. We might as well, right?
Might as well.
All right, that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Different case.
Probably be snowed in.
Probably be snowed in. So, thanks, everybody. We'll be back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.